Watching the press briefing, the clips of it, and then after I saw this, I went back and watched the whole thing in its entirety, was really surreal today. Really, absolutely surreal. And I have to think that obviously this was a planned statement that Psaki made, but it was really a stunner. I mean, stunning. Like, I mean, you almost can't believe it's coming out of her mouth. As much as you know it, it's what Trump's lawsuit is all based on, which, of course, looks a lot different tonight than it did, 5-6 days ago when he announced it. As Jen Psaki comes out in the press briefing room and basically says, well, Facebook is basically a de facto state actor for us right now. Like, just comes out and admits it. Let's just start with the clip. This is unbelievable. Cut 15. Roll it, G.
Can you talk a little bit more about this request for tech companies to be more aggressive in policing misinformation? Has the administration been in touch with any of these companies, and are there any actions that the federal government can take to ensure their cooperation? Because we've seen from the start there's not a lot of action on some of these platforms.
Sure. Well, first, we are in regular touch with these social media platforms, and those engagements typically happen through members of our senior staff, but also members of our COVID-19 team. Given, as Dr. Murthy conveyed, this is a big issue of misinformation, specifically on the pandemic. In terms of actions, Alex, that we have taken, or we're working to take, I should say, from the federal government, we've increased disinformation research and tracking within the Surgeon General's office. We're flagging problematic posts for Facebook that spread disinformation. We're working with doctors and medical professionals to connect to connected medical experts with who are popular with their audiences with accurate information and boost trusted content. So we're helping get trusted content out there. We also created the COVID Community Corps to get factual information into the hands of local messengers. And we're also investing, as you all have seen, in the president's, the vice president's, and Dr. Fauci's time in meeting with influencers who also have large reaches to a lot of these target audiences who can spread and share accurate information. You saw an example of that yesterday. I believe that video will be out tomorrow. I think that was your question, Steve, yesterday. I did a full follow-up there. There are also proposed changes that we have made to social media platforms, including Facebook. And those specifically are 4 key steps. One, that they measure and publicly share the impact of misinformation on their platform. Facebook should provide publicly and transparently data on the reach of COVID vaccine misinformation, not just engagement, but the reach of the misinformation and the audience that it's reaching. That will help us ensure we're getting accurate information to people. This should be provided not just to researchers, but to the public, so that the public knows and understands what is accurate and inaccurate. Second, that we have proposed that they create a robust enforcement strategy that bridges their properties and provides transparency about the rules. So I think this was a question asked before, there's about 12 people who are producing 65% of anti-vaccine misinformation on social media platforms. All of them remain active on Facebook, despite some even being banned on other platforms, including ones that Facebook owns. Third, it's important to take faster action against harmful posts. As you all know, information travels quite quickly on social media platforms. Sometimes it's not accurate, and Facebook needs to move more quickly to remove harmful, violative posts. Posts that will be within their policies for removal often remain up for days. That's too long. The information spreads too quickly. Finally, we have proposed they promote quality information sources in their feed algorithm. Facebook has repeatedly shown that they have the leverage to promote quality information. We've seen them effectively do this in their algorithm over low quality information, and they've chosen not to use it in this case, and that's certainly an area that would have an impact. So these are certainly the proposals. We engage with them regularly, and they certainly understand what our asks are.
Okay, so I wanted to play the whole thing. I didn't want to jump in. There were so many times I could have jumped. I wanted to play the whole thing.
I thought we should have dissected that whole lump of garbage.
How is that? If that was President Xi and we were watching it on some state TV media dictatorship, how is that any different than what the CCP does? How is that any different?
Not even a little bit.
Yeah. It's exactly the same.